So they do show up, so, okay, all right. I'm just looking, I get tired of seeing myself. And again, you're gonna notice how often I wear black.
No, it's cool, black is cool.
Well, I was sitting there, I was sitting there going, I have this T-shirt in the other colors, and it's a little big. It doesn't look big in black because it hides, you can't see the edges as well. Particularly black on the dark blue chair, it looks like I'm all one big massive thing in this chair. So, okay. But, I had some interesting, they wrote their paragraphs in the submission text. And we're talking about half of the kids, and I have 15 from Health Center, didn't format the documents correctly. It's like, and then yesterday, I didn't send one of my schools the papers, and one of the schools didn't get both papers. That's interesting, because I sent them in one email, 2 things. So, I was sending documents, and it's like, okay, you're not gonna get to be part of this one, but you will get to listen to the next one. So.
Do you have to grade all of the classes that you do?
Yeah, well, okay. The grammar quizzes I've intentionally set up so I don't have to grade them. And I only started doing that 2 years ago when my husband had his stroke. Because to sit there, and I had about 120 kids in ITV, I had 240 students total. It was massive. Well, which wouldn't have been a problem, but my husband had a stroke, so all I did was grade and go to the hospital and see him. But, so that's why I changed grammar quizzes to something I don't have to grade. Now, anything you write, I grade. So, crazy me. That's English, well, that same thing happens with math teachers. They have to do all that, so. Good morning, Health Center. There's nothing like watching somebody wipe their nose. I used to wonder why my grandmother always had Kleenex with her. And I figured it out. When you're young, your your parts are new, You know how as your car gets older, you have to replace parts? Well, sinuses and your nose are one thing that gets old, and everything makes your nose run. So. All right, we're just waiting on last buddy Mom and Union. Yo-ho, are y'all there? Okay, let me see. Oh, I got some strange email, text message. I don't want to do that. Edit, let me delete it. What's that is there are 6 people. Oh, wow, we are really interested in this class, I can tell. Our head is down.
Can you hear me?
Let's see. No. Class buddy E. Or. Oh, there they are. Just as I sent it, forget it. They're there. Wouldn't you know? All right. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Wellman Union, are y'all ready for me tomorrow? I'll be there at 8 a.m. with donuts, okay? You ready? All right. I'll just get a mix of donuts from Rise and Shine. It's about 1 minute away from my house. They see me in the fall and they know, to get used to. So. We've got some grammar sheets we're going to work on, comma splices, fuse and run-on sentences, because I'm seeing a lot of errors with those. So we're going to work on those sheets today. My kiddos here, it sounds like you're my kids, huh? Reminded me that we got a few sentences. We finished the comma splice page that I handed out that you got last week, and we did it on Tuesday. We're going to go to the fuse run-on sentences, and I'm just going to fly through those really quickly, and then we'll work together on the ones for today. And we're missing some guys. Let's see. Today is 9:15. I'll go to this one. So, and they're gonna come rolling in late. And okay, all right. So let me go. We're looking at fuse run-ons. It's the one at the first page on fuse run-ons. You got those 2 that look alike. These are the ones I'm talking about. Come on, let's go to this. Okay. There we go. Sometimes it's old. I actually called the people who've ordered the equipment to replace it yesterday, in class, when we lost.
Equipment right here.
Yeah, this is 15 years old. The setup is about 15 years old. And what we have here is not exactly the same. It's a little bit different. The touch screens and the commands and all the different screens you see are a little bit different. So it's interesting. So this is the one we're gonna finish up today. Why did I hit that? That's what I think. Here we go. I'll get to the blow up it, okay? And then we'll look at the two that you got that are new. Now, you have the grammar quiz tomorrow. It opens at 8 a.m. and it closes at midnight. Don't try to go into it on Saturday. It's not gonna be there. Don't try to go into it before 8 a.m. It will be there from 8 to midnight. And it'll be in week 3, and you'll see grammar quiz 1, okay? And on this quiz, just very quickly, on this quiz, you will select true if there's no error in the sentence, and false if there is an error. And the errors are only gonna be fused, run-on, and comma splices. So don't think, oh, well, that pronoun's wrong. No, it's not. If you think it's wrong, you're wrong about that. So only worry about fused, run-on, and comma splices. And if we get a chance, we'll go in and look a little bit more at Chomp Chomp Grammar Bites. I figured out how to work it. So this is the fused run-on. Janine's uncle never graduated from high school. He started his own landscaping company at 16. Easiest way to do this one, let me see if I can write on this one. I bet I can. Okay, so right here, let's hit, where's draw? It's that draw. No. There we go. Right there is where you need some form of punctuation, okay? And you have multiple options. You don't have to correct the sentences, because that's just takes two. I have to grade those if you correct them. This way, on the test, you just say, yes, it's correct, no, it's not. The good news is when you're looking at these, they all have errors in them. On the second one, I've had a Mac computer for a year already. I have no regrets about buying it. The decision you have to make is, here's your first independent clause. Here's your second independent clause. Which one does already go to? I've had a Mac computer for a year already, or already I have no regrets about it. It already is actually part of this one. So your punctuation needs to go right there between already and I. This is the sheets we're working on last week, okay? Okay. People make their way across the desert. Yeah, I remember saying this. They arrive in trucks with little ventilation, and they are often beaten by the men who smuggle them. So your first dependent clause is here. Second one is here. And then you've got a comma and the conjunction. Did I talk to you guys about fanboys? I think I did. Write fanboys on one of your pages so that you've got, exactly what the coordinating conjunctions are. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so. They are the only ones that have commas before them. Let me make sure that my plurals match, okay? So I don't ever want to see a comma after these words, only before them. And so if you have and you can have that list out there so that when you're taking the quiz, you can say, oh, I see a comma and a nor. So let me see if I have stuff on both sides of it. That's what you need to do, okay? So you've got, right here you have the comma and the and, so you don't need any correction there. And they are often beaten by the men who smuggle them. It's going to take Rita a while to find them. It's okay. I won't give you any more comma splices or fused run-on pages, so you'll only have these 8. So what you have to deal with is right here. People make their way across the desert. I might go semicolon. Frequently, they arrive in trucks with little ventilation. See how that kind of adds something that lets you know there's something more going on in the sentence. Number 4, these political victories add up. This is the one that's easy, because what did they do? They put a capital I in it. Hi, Rodney. We're working on the grammar pages that I gave you guys last week, that we didn't quite get through. It's not just money, but dignity at home and on the job. So what you have to fix is going to be right here, but we're not going to have to fix on that quiz. On the quiz, true if it's correct, if there's no comma splice or fused run-on error, false if there is an error. So you got a 50-50 shot. And no, they're not all true, and no, they're not all false, okay? I'll just tell you. And I might have been tried to be a little tricky too. Number 5, it's the fused run-on page from the ones from last time. Immigrants can be sentenced to prison. Most are sent back to their native homelands. First independent clause is right here. Second one starts at most and goes to the end. So you need something in between here. You wouldn't put like semicolon, sometimes most. It doesn't make sense. You need to think of punctuation or using coordinating conjunctions or subordinated conjunctions as putting meaning in a sentence. So if 2 sentences are of equal value, a semicolon is ideal. Rodney ate worms. Jackie doesn't like him. They're of equal value, because they're the same thing. I just picked your names because those are the 2 that came to mind right now, okay? So because Rodney ate worms, comma, Jackie doesn't like him. So see how that gives you more information. It tells you why she doesn't like him, all right? So you have to think about the words you use. You can't just stick a word in and expect it to work. If you go comma and on this sentence, it would work. And most are sent back to their native homelands. That's fine. Jamal's supervisor installed a new fingerprint reader. When employees arrive, they must enter an employee number and place their index finger on a small sensor. Your first independent clause begins at Jamal and ends at reader. You have a dependent clause. Y'all have that AWUBIS page? Have that with you, because I'm sneaky enough to make sentences with AWUBIS's dependent clauses in them. You have an AWUBIS clause that begins with when employees arrive. You need a comma there. That is a clause because you have a subject and you have a verb. See the employees? There's a verb. So when you've got that, you have to have a comma, not at the end of the AWUBIS word, but at the end of the dependent clause. They must enter an employee number and place their index finger on a small sensor. So you only have 2 independent clauses. You have 1 dependent clause. Back in the day, and I never spent a lot of time teaching, do you remember? That was not the one I meant to hit. Okay. There we go. When you have simple sentences, you have compound sentences, you have compound complex sentences, and then you have complex sentences and then compound complex. So that just means the more things you have, the more intricate your sentence gets. And so this is a compound complex sentence, 2 independent clauses and a dependent clause. It will not make you a better person to know that. It might help your grammar, but that's about it. Okay. An English teacher saying that's almost heresy, okay? So you've got to figure out what to do. You might go comma, you might go comma after reader, and so that it goes, so when employees arrive, they must enter. Any of you have to ID in? Use an ID? I'm so glad we don't hear. My hours would be so erratic, okay? All right, the teacher distributed several worksheets. Some of them are taken directly from the textbook. First independent clause right there, it stops at worksheets. Second one is here. You fix it however you want, but this is considered a fused run-on. Amar Chang has a goal in 14 consecutive matches. He is 3 shy of the record. Amar Chang has a goal. That is a complete thought. And you've got this long prepositional phrase, in 14 consecutive matches. I think it applies here. Has a goal in 14 consecutive. That's pretty cool. When you're talking soccer, getting a goal in consecutive matches is kind of neat. He is 3 shy of the record, so you have 2. You could go semicolon, therefore, comma, he is 3 shy of the record. That would work. As a result, semicolon, as a result, comma, he is 3 shy of the record. That's kind of neat. See how it adds meaning when you add those coordinating conjunctions, adverbial conjunctions or conjunctive adverbs, and then subordinate conjunctions. The last one, the dog jumped and barked near the lake. He noticed an alligator swimming toward shore. Y'all help me out on this one. The dog jumped and barked. That's complete thought. He noticed an alligator swimming toward the shore. So we've got to figure out what to do with near the lake. Does near the lake go with the dog jumped and barked near the lake? Or is it near the lake he noticed an alligator swimming toward shore? Which one makes better sense? Or does it matter? What do you think? It's too early in the morning to figure this out. It works either way. it makes sense either way. It doesn't change the meaning image. The dog jumped and barked. If it said he had noticed, see how that changes it a little bit? Then you know that it was near the lake that he jumped and barked. But, dogs jump and bark all the time. You know, so. You need something here or you need something here. Your choice, if you were gonna fix it. So when you write, you need to make those corrections. All right, so we finished the old pages, okay? So you've got some new ones now. I'm gonna let you guys get a little more, hopefully. I was just trying to get through that one quickly. So do you have the quiz tomorrow? Opens at 8, closes at midnight, over grammar. On Sunday night, you need to have a draft of your narrative turned into Blackboard. You've got to do it in a Word document. It's got to be formatted correctly and double-spaced, okay? And you'll need copies for class, because we're gonna do pre-revision on Monday. And I don't think the final's due until the next Sunday, so you've got this 2-week period after, you know, we've got a week after you've written it and we've looked over it, to get it finished. Gives me enough time to finally get on. I've got about 25 paragraphs to finish grading. That's gonna be my weekend, because I don't get any work done on Fridays, since I'm going to the schools. Hey, Haley, I'm glad you finally got that document open yesterday, too. It's crazy. Let's look at the one that says comma splices. Let's go over and look at that. It's the one that looks like a Word document. It doesn't look like PDF, okay? And the nice thing about all of the documents you have is they all give you, definitions and explanations, what a comma splice is, what a fused run-on sentence is. These are the new ones that were sitting right at your spot, okay? So, and then they give you examples. And for instance, on this one, it says a comma splice is an independent clause, comma, independent clause. That gives you, there's a little visual kind of cue right there. So the example is, we hiked in the Blue Ridge Mountains for 3 weeks. We were very tired. Yeah, for 3 weeks definitely has to go with hiking in the Blue Ridge Mountains. That would make you tired. So you gotta have something besides the comma. And then they give you, I believe, 4 ways to correct comma splices. Change the comma to a period and a capital letter on the next word. Change the comma to a semicolon. Add a coordinating conjunction, and they give you a list of them. And, or simply don't simply delete the comma. You can, well, I guess they only give you 3 on this one, okay. So this is a nice, easy exercise for everybody to do. On these sentences, you either write, all you have to do is write CS if it is a comma splice, and C if it's correct, which is much more closely to what you're gonna be doing on the test tomorrow. So CS for a comma splice, C if it is correct. And since you don't have to do a lot, just a CS or a C, I'm gonna give you about 2 more minutes and then we'll go over it. Sure. Mhm. Sorry. I have one student who's quarantined right now, so, and that had an important email. Okay, let's go look at these, all right? So one of the ways to look at this is, this is one of those exercises that you can kind of cheat on. Because if there's no comma in the sentence, then it can't be a comma splice, right? Okay. So that would tell you it's correct. Hopefully they were smarter than that. My apartment is too small. I have no room for my treadmill and exercise bike. So here's I'm in a Word document, my bad. So here's your first independent clause. I have no room for my treadmill and exercise bike. I don't know what kind of life this person has that they can have an exercise and treadmill bike and live in an apartment. So you do have a comma splice in one. Y'all see it? I'm exhausted, however, I will go to school anyway. I can see that sometimes with college kids. High school kids get exhausted too, but I can't tell that as well. So I'm exhausted, complete thought. It is a comma splice. Right there is your comma splice, the one after exhausted. It should be a semicolon because however is a conjunctive adverb. And when you have a conjunctive adverb that begins a second independent clause, you put a semicolon in front of it and a comma after it. So the comma splice occurs before. However, anytime however appears in a sentence, you need to have a comma after it. What goes in front of it depends on if you have a complete clause or just, if your however begins a sentence, you just need a comma and a capital letter. Now let's see, Tom opened his freezer, then he noticed that 2 cans of beer had exploded. I was informed yesterday that beer will freeze, alcohol won't, but beer will freeze. So apparently, why would you stick beer in the freezer? To get it cold quickly and then forget about it, I guess. So another comma splice, and then comes off as being a conjunctive adverb sometimes. So semicolon might work best. Number 4, although I understand the definition, comma splices still confuse me. Guess what? This sentence is correct. If you had your AWUBIS page out, although is one of the, it's the acronym A. It's one of the acronym A's for that. So have you got your AWUBIS worksheets? You need those when you take the test. The one that, one only knows where I put it. Because I handed them out to you guys earlier, so 4 is correct. I tried to clean up yesterday, and apparently I didn't do a very good job. Here. Here's the AWUBIS worksheet. It says AWUBIS at the top of it. Gives you a list of they're bolded, the AWUBIS, the acronym, and then the words that it stands for. So if you have this handy, you can go, oh wait, she's got that word at the beginning, there's a comma. That's not a comma splice. That's correct. Maybe. Okay? So be prepared. Because I didn't make them all simple sentences. There are some more complex sentences on the test. And it will not tell you which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong. It will tell you, you'll be able to check your grade. And that's because God loved you, particularly the kids at the high schools. You know, somebody will take the test first, and then they'll let people know, you know, I realize you can cheat. And I'm already letting you use your worksheets.
I can use these.
Yeah, I said that. My belief is that if you can use grammar sheets to help you get the grammar correct, that's as good as school. Having it memorized, I have it memorized because I teach it all the time. Yeah, okay, no, you can use the sheets. Yeah, so I don't care if my facilitators see the kids with their sheets out, that's fine. It means they're working. But if I see Rodney telling Reed, hey, that one I got wrong, so it's gotta be the other answer, that's cheating. Let's see. We go on to number 5. A comma splice occurs when two complete sentences are joined only by a comma. I need to remember that rule. There, it's right. Don't you hate exercises that talk about grammar in them? I think that, that's a comma splice, obviously. It begins with A and goes all the way to the comma, and then the second one's there. This one was a little confusing to me. It means it is or it has. There you've got a comma. It's, ITS apostrophe, is always incorrect. There is no such thing as ITS apostrophe. The only time you use an apostrophe with ITS is when you're creating the conjunction it is or it has, or it was. No, it was, yeah. So, be careful. Because I have had one error with somebody not putting the apostrophe in its. So watch out for that. Fix that one. So that one's CS. I hiked for 5 hours yesterday. Consequently, I'm too tired to go hiking again today. There's another comma splice. Here's your first one right here. The second one begins after consequently. So semicolon and probably comma, even though it's not a conjunctive adverb. For example, I like to read suspense novels, email my friends, and play cards with my daughter. You can ignore, for example. That's just a prepositional phrase that's adverbial and modifies the entire sentence, okay? So all you have to deal with is the comma after novels, the comma after friends, and that's it. So, I like to read suspense novels, email my friends, and play cards. Those are just prepositional phrases. This sentence is correct. Okay? So that's the other thing to watch out for. You could have a list on the quiz where you might think that it's a comma splice when actually it's just a comma separating items in a list. And in English, you need to put the comma before the and in the last item in the list. You're in English land, you have to play by English land rules. Does that make sense? If you're writing for journalism, if you're writing for modern fiction, contemporary fiction like that, they don't do it. But in English, you follow the rules. Sorry. And I am the tyrant of English land. And all the other English teachers are tyrants with me, okay? Number 9, my son Jeffrey plays drums in a band called Talent Scam, and he likes to surf at Playa Linda Beach, okay. And that should be called in a band, there's where the A is needed, called Talent Scam. All right, here's an independent clause. He likes to surf. Okay, but you've got the comma and you have the coordinating conjunction and, so this one is correct. Okay, are y'all getting these right? And if you're not, now you're getting them. You know the right answers. And some people value money and material possessions. Others value love and family. That is a comma splice. So my suggestion is when you're looking at the test and there's a comma in the sentence, figure out what's on each side of it. Okay? So that takes care of this one. So now we've got another PDF that I found that I thought was fun. I gotta remember where all the PDFs show up in Bing. Okay. I'm making it big before I do something silly. All right, so again, on this one, they actually give you examples of everything. This is Columbia College. So they give you an example of a fused sentence. They give you an example of a comma splice. And so they tell you to ask how many independent clauses are in the sentence. That's what you have to figure out. It's the one that has the little, it says Academic Achievement Center at the bottom. So then they give you, this is the one that gives you 4 solutions on how to fix it. Separate the 2 independent clauses into 2 sentences. Connect them with a semicolon if they express closely related ideas. So they give you a little more explanation about why you use it. You can connect the 2 independent clauses with a comma and a coordinating conjunction. So there's fanboys. Or you can make one of the clauses dependent on the other independent clause by adding a subordinating word. And then they give you a list. And that's not, and I don't like the fact that they go such as, since, when, after, while, because, although, et cetera. Okay, when you write for me, don't use the word et cetera. You understand why I'm saying that? Because if you use et cetera, you say there's more. But if you're telling me there's more, but you don't tell me what it is, haven't you failed as a writer? So, don't ever use et cetera. That's being lazy. That's why that's the only thing I don't really like about this worksheet is that they say there are more. Well, I've given you the AWUBIS page that has the more, okay? And if you're not sure if something is an AWUBIS word, just go, is which an AWUBIS word? Or you can say, is which a subordinating conjunction? That's the better question to ask. So do the exercises on the back to practice what you've learned. So here we go. Each sentence below consists of two or more independent clauses. What I want you to do is, all of you to do this, place brackets around each independent clause and determine whether the sentence is a comma splice or a fused sentence. So what you're going to do, Pope Francis weighs in, sorry, I was going to read what he said. All right, so you're going to place brackets. Oh, I got to hit draw again. Here we go. Place brackets around each independent clause. And then you have to decide if it's a comma splice, or a fused run-on. And I want you to get familiar with those terms because I'm not going to write it out anymore. I'm going to go CS or FRO because I can save myself my handwriting. Some of you have seen it because I've had to print out paragraphs and grade them. My handwriting is not the greatest. So the more letters I have to write, the more chances are that I'll write it so bad you can't read it and I have to erase it and rewrite it. So get used to CS and FRO. So do that for these 10 sentences? Yeah, these 10. I'll give you a few minutes. Put brackets around the independent clauses and then decide if it's a comma splice or a fused run-on. I'm going to open up Primer Bytes. Okay. Give you a couple more minutes, okay? Oh, that's good to know. There's a medium-high pollen alert has been issued. Ragweed grass, chenopod, okay. I have no idea what a chenopod is. I'm gonna figure that out. That is no help. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay. They are a particularly allergenic plant group. Birch. Amaranthus. Pigweed, water hemp, Russian thistle, lamb's quarters, and kochia. Well, I'm pretty sure we don't have water hemp. Ragweed pollen. Near seasonal peak right now. Medium high. Tomorrow it's going to be high. Okay. Ragweed, grasses, and chenopod. Okay. Let's look at this and do it. I keep seeing that on. Gotta get into the right thing. All right, so we are looking at this one, and it begins with Ellen. So, Ellen had her hands full of taking care of Stephen. He was at an age where he was full of mischief. Okay, so your first bracket goes at Ellen. So you go look at the comma. Ellen had her hands full of taking care of Stephen. Complete thought. So there's your second bracket. He was at the age where he was full of mischief. So you have two. So this is going to be, because you have the comma, this is going to be a CS. Okay? The sky turned gray bolts of lightning, flashed in the east thunder, rolled across the mountains. Boy, I read that where it was not even understandable, didn't I? That's because the sentence needs some punctuation. The sky turned gray. You wouldn't say the sky turned gray bolts of lightning. The sky turned gray, bolts of lightning flashed, and the east thunder rolled across the mountains. You have three independent clauses in that one. So, and there's no punctuation, so you should have been able to figure out this was a fused run-on without looking at the sentence. But it helps knowing where they occur. So technically, you need, the sky turned gray. I might go put like while bolts of lightning flash, and in the east, thunder rolled across. You need a comma. Yeah, you need something in there. You could put all of it together. Sometimes that's more interesting to have a series of phrases versus lots of things like that. Let's see, Americans are more conscious of the need for fitness. They have become active sports enthusiasts. They are more interested in good nutrition. They are aware of the need to reduce stress. So, you started Americans, the next clause ends where? Or the clause ends where? Anybody in here? At fitness? Okay. Thanks, Jackie. They have become active sports enthusiasts. So the second one starts at they and ends at enthusiasts. They are more interested in good nutrition. They are aware of the need to reduce stress. Now what I'm seeing here is this is something that happens a lot in contemporary fiction and even in journalism. They will string independent clauses together with commas. Those are all comma splices. You can't do that and not expect me to count it wrong. Because remember, we're in English land. So, this one might be better served by Americans are more conscious of the need for fitness. Comma, so they have become active sports enthusiasts, comma, more interested in good nutrition, comma, and aware of the need to reduce stress. So what I've created is two independent clauses with a compound verb in the second one. And so I'm not repeating they have, they are, they are. Because that's boring, reading they are, they have. That's boring. So combine, it's called sentence combining, and it makes your writing more interesting. Television can be entertaining. It can also be boring. When I was growing up, I never watched the news because it was boring. It was about things happening somewhere else and politics, and I didn't care about it. I don't watch it that often now because it gets on my nerves. It's all bad news. So you've got two here. So this is one where it is a comma splice. So this one, this was CS. It would help if I put those on this. That was a FRO, so this is a CS down here. But you can create television can be entertaining, semicolon. However, comma, it can also be boring. And that makes it, that gives you a bit of a punch to your point you're making, that exception. Children learn from their parents' examples. Parents' behavior is an important part of their children's experience. Well, I like this one because it shows you how to do a plural possessive several times. Children learn from their parents' examples. Complete thought. Parents here, just to give you a heads up, is a plural possessive because if you go P-A-R-E-N-T apostrophe S, you're only talking about one parent. If you are fortunate enough to have both parents, and we've already gone through the discussion who has divorced parents and all that. I've done that in most of my classes. It's scary. But here means you have more than one parent, and you have to have more than one parent because the children don't all have the same the parents. Does that make sense? So that's all got to be plural. So subject, verb, pronoun antecedent agreement affects the entire sentence also. So this plural is affected by that one, is affected by that. Here's your next one, goes, parents' behavior is an important part of their children's learning experience. See how everything's plural again? And how their and children, so you have to watch that. Children is not C-H-I-L-D-R-E-N apostrophe, S apostrophe. Children is plural to begin with. Child is singular, children is plural. And that's why we actually have one grammar quiz over apostrophes, because I see so many errors. And this is a fused run-on because there's no punctuation. Oh, this is a great sentence. I like it. The life of a farmer is a lonely one. His opportunities to socialize are limited because of the constant attention he must give to the things he cultivates. Yesterday when I read this sentence out loud to my first class, I said, isn't there a website? What's it called? Farmers what? It's Farmers Only, right? They used to have ads on TV. And I said, so here's my thought. Does that mean it's farmers looking for other farmers? It's Farmers Only. If you're not a farmer, my mind goes in. So now you know I have an odd sense of humor too. But my little girl from Monday said, yeah, and she was telling me about it. And I said, oh, you've been there? She goes, no, I've never used it, but I remember the ads. So the life of a farmer is a lonely one. There's your first independent clause. The second one is his opportunities to socialize are limited, and it goes all the way through cultivates. There's your AWUBIS word, because. And that's a long dependent clause. And since because is in the middle of the sentence, you don't put a comma in front of it because it's not a coordinating conjunction. It's a subordinating conjunction. So, but it's technically this is your independent clause, and this is a dependent clause. But dependent clauses have to be parts of complete sentences. So you only need your punctuation right there. Oil imports are very expensive. We must learn to be economical in our use of energy. First one's right there. So really go to the commas if a sentence has a comma on the quiz, start there. If it doesn't have a comma, then you need to figure out, is it correct or is it a fused run-on? Because there's still a possibility. We must learn to be economical in our use of energy. So there's a comma there, CS. This one was a fused run-on, right? Yeah, this was a fused run-on up here, if you need to put that next to it. Advanced methods of communication have made the world smaller. People are thus, brought closer together. We find ourselves with common interests. You have 3 independent clauses here at each of the commas. So you've got choices to what to do. So again, this is a comma splice. Some scientists call the computer essentially stupid, others fear its capacity to think. I'm not crazy about quotes around words for emphasis. So be careful about putting quotes if you want to emphasize a word for me. You know, it just doesn't work. And please don't overuse exclamation marks. Sorry, I had somebody who had like 3 in their paragraph. And when your paragraph's only 8 sentences long, 3 exclamation points is 3 too many. I get you excited about your topic, okay? Some scientists call the computer essentially stupid, others fear its capacity to think. So, interestingly enough, it is a fused run-on, but you're going to have to put whatever punctuation you put is going to have to go inside those quotation marks. About 90% of the time, you put punctuation inside closing quotation marks. There's the 10% that you don't. And college freshmen need help in making the transition from high school. The sheer size of most colleges can be a problem to new students. Like my student from Monday graduated with 14. Last buddy, Haley, how many will you graduate with? Let me get close so I can hear what you say.
14.
14, okay. So that's not very big, is it? I think she's told me that before and I forgot. So that's not very big, and you know everybody, and you're tired of everybody by the time you graduate, right? Yeah. I was tired of mine with 32. The sheer size. So you have 2, and this is a comma splice, okay? So we got about 5 minutes, 6 minutes left. So what I was going to do was go over and go back into Grammar Bites. Okay? So in Grammar Bites, use this as a means of kind of helping yourself, just warming you up before you take the quiz. You don't have to spend a lot of time in there. But it's called Grammar Bites because they use a shark as kind of like their logo. Because, you know, big chunks, sharks take big chunks out of people, okay? So when you go in, you're going to see that. It's grammar instruction with attitude. Let's see. Oh, let me just click on the exercises up here. I realized that if I shrunk down everything, it would work. We're not leaving yet. Okay? Slow down. 5 minutes. It takes you 5 minutes to put your stuff up, Kayla? Read. Okay? So, whatever we're working on, you can go here and look at it. Look at comma splices and fused sentences. So I'm just going to click on the first one. And when you go in, the nice thing they'll give you is an explanation of what it is. So like that one of the sheets we looked at, see how it has main clause plus a comma plus a main clause equals death or a bad grade. A few sentences where you have main clause plus nothing and then another main clause. It's still major errors. So they give you that explanation. You get prizes and they're cyber. So you click on start here and then you get your first sentence. I'm going to make it big. Julie is a real hypochondriac. When her stomach hurts, she is certain that she has a bleeding ulcer, and if she has a backache, she believes that she has cancer of the spine. So the best thing about, there's a lot going on in that sentence. Hypochondriac who's somebody who thinks there's always something, they're ill with something, okay? So what it tells you down here is if it's a comma splice, you choose the left door. If it's a fused sentence, you choose the right door. So there are errors in all of these sentences in this exercise. You just have to decide which one is correct. So though I know the answer because I've taught this lesson several times, I'm just going to say that this is a comma splice because I see commas in there, all right? So I'm going to click on comma splice, which is the left door, which looks like it's on a submarine. As it moves slowly, come on, let's go. There we go. Anytime now. The ball is slowly swirling up there on comma splices and fused sentences. You get sound effects that tell you whether you're right or wrong. And okay, so as you scroll down, you're gonna see the item did not contain a comma splice. And their pictures are always odd shaped. People's faces look odd because of it. There's a cow. It says, keep the cow as your consolation prize. Get an explanation. If you get it wrong, get an explanation. Okay? So it shows you that a comma splice occurs. It tells you what it is again, and then it tells you, Julia said real hypochondriac is one sentence. It explains what is going on in the sentence to you. Okay? So that's the advantage of doing that. We're gonna move on to the next one. And it tells you how to fix it also. So here's the second one. My cat Buster loves to nap on warm appliances. When he sleeps on top of the microwave oven, his tail swipes the glass door like a windshield wiper. So there's a lot going on. And you're gonna see, look, right in the middle, there's an Awubis word, there's when. So you have to watch out what's happening. So is it a comma splice or a fused run-on? Well, I'm gonna say fused run-on this time. I don't necessarily remember, but let's see. It is a fused run-on. So the item was fused, but it also says get an explanation. So if you don't know why you got it right, it gives you the same explanation as when you get it wrong. That's the nice thing about Grammar Bites. You can see what you got wrong in the sentence. Okay? So, that's what I've got for today. Wellman, I'll be there at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And Health Center, you guys are the next Friday. Okay? So that'll be coming up. And I lacked four papers, 3 of them in this class that I have not, paragraphs that I've not graded. They'll be graded today. So you'll be able to see your grades and go in and look at it. Have you been able, Caleb, you were able to see my comments on yours? You were able to click in and go, you didn't bother to look? Well, when you go into My Grades in Blackboard, click on, there'll be something that if you put your cursor over it, it'll highlight to tell you that it's linked, and it'll take you to the graded document, or the graded area, okay? So you can see it. Have a good weekend. Don't forget your test. Don't forget the draft due Sunday night.
We're gonna go to the test on Blackboard?
The test will show up in Blackboard in this week. Huh?
Not there right now.
No, it will not show up until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And if you've missed a quiz, like Jackie missed last week's, don't panic, I'll probably open them back up. They're only 15 points, I'm not gonna,
Yeah, I did them all.
yeah, I'm not gonna be a snark about missing those quizzes, so. I managed to pull out pencils that don't write. Why I don't throw them away, I don't know. But I don't. Okay. Oh, I need to go in. I gotta clean up that one document now. Erase. Since I discovered I can write in PDFs, or marks on PDFs, I'm all excited. Makes me happy. Good morning. How's it going? It's Alex, right? All right. I'm getting it together. No, I didn't want. I'm having to clean up a document very quickly. No, we're not gonna have time. We're gonna review for the, grammar quiz is what we're gonna do. I won't do this much from now on, but this is, comma splices and fused run-on sentences are major errors. So I wanna ensure that everybody at least does well on the quiz.
And the quiz is tomorrow?
Tomorrow it opens up at 8, in week 3 it opens up at 8, and it's open until midnight. So,
Well, that's the next chapters, or?
you're supposed to read, good question. You have a draft at the narrative due, so on Monday, we're gonna be doing peer revision.